All right, the base parts are all done and they're sitting here hardening up. Today we're going to start work on the sprocket housing and the base casting. I'm not exactly sure what this looks like underneath. Ooh, that's heavy. Yeah, that's pretty clean, but yeah, I'm still going to clean that up a bit and get a little bit of paint on that. Kind of sucks. I had hoped I didn't need to do any painting on the underside of this, but it looks like I will need to. And then this, all this is kind of a spacer that goes between the base casting and the mobile base, and it just allows space for that chain that raises and lowers the head. I was hoping I didn't have to do much painting on it at all, but I don't know. We'll see what this looks like once I get it cleaned up. And then we have some parts here that need bluing. These we can just reuse as they are. And the rollers and the hardware for those are over there. So let's pull all this stuff out and have a look at it. It's really hard to tell how much work this needs. If it doesn't have rust or bare metal, I'd like to just scuff it up and get a thin coat of paint on the outside. If possible, I would like to not paint the inside at all. Let's get this cleaned up and then we'll take another look at it and assess what needs to be done with this. Okay, got a little bit of glue, little bit of stain, and some scuffing, which is all normal. There's no dents or anything, and no real rust to speak of. So what I'm gonna do with this is just give it a scuffing, get rid of the stain and the scuffing that's already on it, and with any luck we should be able to get this painted today. I'll get one coat on the top or on the bottom and on part of the face here, and then later on today I should be able to get the top and the rest of the face. Good, good, good. All right, let's scuff this up and get her ready for paint. All right, what I'm doing is just getting rid of the tougher stuff with a sanding pad. This is a 320 pad, and believe it or not, that's gonna burn through the paint pretty quickly. So we'll just hit those little areas with primer and then paint right away. This should go pretty quick. All right, now we're gonna clean up the dust with a little bit of lacquer thinner. And before we paint this, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, and it really helps the channel out. Yeah, this is gonna look really nice. Don't need a lot of primer at all. Just a little bit of bare metal on the edges here. One thing I've noticed about these Sherwin-Williams cans is that the button is really hard to push. They make like a clip-on handle that you can use for spray painting. And I used to have one. I wish I had one now. This is my second can of paint, and it seems to be sputtering already. And it is almost out. Bummer. Okay. That came out really nice. And again, this is the underside. As soon as this paint dries enough, I'm going to flip it over and get the top side, and then we'll get that over there and let that dry for a week or so. Now, for this monster, what I'm going to do with this is get it over onto the cardboard and some plastic, and I'll clean it with the super clean and a brass brush. And then it's got to go outside, and I got to hook up the hose. It's well below freezing right now, but I'll hook up the hose and rinse this really well with very hot water. And then I'll get it back in here, and I have the heat gun set up over there. We'll get it dry with the heat gun and a towel. I don't want a whole bunch of flash rust on this surface right here, but a little bit is unavoidable. And then I believe I'm going to do the surface first. I'm going to sand this and get this buffed out, get the surface perfect, and then we'll mask that off and get the rest of this painted. Yeah, this is pretty heavy. Let's get this over there and get her cleaned off. So, with this cast iron base cleaned with super clean and rinsed under the hose, it still has a good amount of stuff clinging to it. And you can see that there's just a little bit of surface rust here and there. What we're going to do with this is paint the underside with this rust reformer, black rust reformer. Just give it a light coat of that, and then I'll paint the underside with black paint. I don't want to waste our colored paint. And then when that's dry, we'll flip it over and deal with the other side. But right now, all I'm doing is getting rid of any loose stuff that's on the surface. And then we'll get that rust reformer on here. Show you a little tip here. I have these holes where the eccentrics go. I don't have to plug them off on the other side, but I do have to plug them off from this side. And just shoving some paper toweling in there, like I'm doing right now, will not plug them off real well. But if you shove something through the other end and hold your finger tight over this end, you can basically make a plug. This is assuming that you don't have like a cork that size. You can make a plug basically the same size as the hole, a nice tight plug, and plug it up. I don't want any paint in there at all. A tiny little bit will get in there, and I'll clean it up. In these column holes, those had paint in to start with. It's not a machined fit, so I think I got it. I got everything plugged up that needs to be plugged up. Let's get painting this thing. Okay, now it's a little bit of a waiting game. I'm going to wait about 2 hours. It's already been, maybe 3 hours, but I'm going to wait another 2 hours, flip this gear housing or sprocket housing, flip it over, which will be right side up, and give this its final coat of paint. That one will probably be ready too. That is not actually going to stay on the planer for very long, but might as well have it look nice while it's on there. And the table casting, this is done on this side, and this is just going to sit until tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to flip this over, clean the other side with lacquer thinner again. Well, I'm going to pull all this stuff. Well, I can do that right now actually. You could see that it was painted in here originally, so the columns just kind of loosely fit in there. So this is going to sit until tomorrow, then be flipped over, and then I'll start grinding down the table. It may take all day to get the table ground down. I don't know, and I'm going to polish up the insides of these anyways, and then clean the outsides, mask it up, and get that painted tomorrow. And then I believe that's it for this round. We'll just start putting stuff over where it can dry, and then I will probably do that part, and the belt housing right after that. Pretty sure that's what I'll do. And then I'm going to start assembling that stuff up there, the mobile base. That should be dry in, well, it should be hard in a day or two. I'll start assembling it then. And then by the time that's assembled, I'll be able to put this on it, and we're going to damn near have a planer.